3.5.4 Nutrient Cycles Common Questions from AQA past papers. So the diagram shows the nitrogen cycle, name process P. Well, it's going from ammonium ions to nitrite ions, so therefore it's going to be nitrification. Name process Q, it's going from nitrate ions to nitrogen, so it's going to be denitrification. Describe the role of saprobionts in the nitrogen cycle. They use enzymes to decompose or hydrolyze proteins, DNA or urea, it could be any nitrogen-containing compound, releasing ammonia or ammonium compounds, or they perform ammonification. After harvesting, the remains of crop plants are often ploughed into the soil. Explain how microorganisms in the soil produce a source of nitrates from these remains. Protein, amino acids or DNA are turned into ammonium compounds or ammonia by saprobionts. Ammonium then goes into nitrite, then nitrite into nitrate by nitrifying bacteria. Denitrification requires anaerobic conditions. Ploughing aerates the soil. Explain how ploughing would affect the fertility of the soil. Fertility increases as more nitrate is formed or less nitro is removed, therefore less or no denitrification, or process P is decreased or fewer denitrifying bacteria. Explain how farming practices increase the productivity of agricultural crops. Fertilizers or minerals, or named iron, like NPK. Role of the named nutrient or element, e.g. nitrate or nitrogen for proteins, phosphate or phosphorus for ATP or DNA. Selective breeding or genetic modification of crops. Ploughing or aeration allows nitrification to decrease denitrification. The benefit of crop rotation in terms of soil, nutrients or fertility or pest reduction. Describe how the action of microorganisms in the soil produce a source of nitrates for crop plants. Protein or amino acids or DNA are turned into ammonium compounds. By saprobionts, ammonium is turned into nitrite, nitrite into nitrate by nitrifying bacteria, and nitrogen is turned to ammonia by nitrogen fixing bacteria. Nitrate from fertilizer is applied to crops and they may enter ponds and lakes. Explain how nitrate may cause the death of fish in fresh water. So growth of algae or surface plants or an algal bloom blocks light. Therefore, there is reduced or no photosynthesis, so the submerged plants underneath die. Saprobiotic microorganisms or bacteria then aerobically respire and use oxygen in respiration, so they increase the biological oxygen demand. Therefore, less oxygen for fish to respire and the aerobic organisms die. When fertilizers are applied to fields next to a lake, nitrogen-containing substances from the fertilizers get into the lake. Describe how the nitrogen-containing substances get into the lake. They dissolve in soil water, runoff or leaching. It takes longer for the nitrogen-containing substances to get into the lake when an organic fertilizer is used than when an inorganic fertilizer is used. Explain why it takes longer when an organic fertilizer is used. They are insoluble or less soluble, and the molecules require breaking down or there is a slow release. Name the type of bacteria which convert nitrogen in the air into ammonium compounds. That is nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Nitrites into nitrates is nitrifying bacteria. Explain how including leguminous plants in a crop rotation reduces the need to use artificial fertilisers. Containing nitrogen-fixing bacteria in their roots or nodules, so they don't need fertiliser. Nitrogen-containing compounds are added to the soil when the plant dies or after harvest of crops. Application of very high concentration of fertiliser to the soil causes plants to wilt. Explain why. Lower or more negative water potential in the soil than in the plant prevents the roots from taking up water, or plants still lose water by transpiration. Plants lose water to the soil by osmosis.